Jessica wiped down the last table in the nearly empty diner, her arms sore and her back aching from a double shift. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting a tired glow across the worn linoleum floor. She glanced at the clock, nearly 9 p.m., and knew she still had to wash the dishes before heading home to her little apartment, a place that smelled faintly of laundry detergent and hope. Life as a single mom had a rhythm of exhaustion and small victories, and every tip she earned was like a tiny victory flag she waved to herself. Some days it meant paying the rent on time. Other days, it meant buying a warm meal for her son instead of the usual instant noodles. She straightened her apron as a sharp chime announced a customer. Jessica looked up to see a man in a tailored suit, expensive shoes, and a watch that probably cost more than her monthly rent. He slid into the corner booth with a quiet confidence that made her stomach tighten. He glanced at the menu with practiced indifference, ordered the most expensive items without looking up, and barely acknowledged her presence. Jessica forced a polite smile as she jotted down his order, feeling a twinge of irritation. Some people came in expecting good service, without even considering the effort behind it. She moved quickly, pouring water, bringing bread rolls and checking on him without breathing a complaint. Yet there was something oddly familiar in his calm, detached demeanor, as if he were used to the world bending to his convenience. By the time she dropped the check in front of him, she had a sinking feeling in her chest. She watched him sign, then slide the check back across the table. Her heart dropped. There was no tip. Not even $1. She bit her lip and tried not to let disappointment show. Years of waiting tables had taught her to swallow such moments with grace. But it stung anyway. Still, Jessica shook her head, with a wry smile, and muttered under her breath about the rich who think. Manners are optional. She cleared the plates, trying not to let frustration show, her mind drifting to the groceries she had to buy tomorrow, the laundry piling up and the school forms that her son needed signed. She shoved the empty plates into the bus bin, already planning her exit from the diner when something unusual caught her eye, something glinting beneath the largest plate. Curious, she bent down, feeling her pulse quicken. What could it be? She had no idea that this small, overlooked corner of her evening was about to change everything. Jessica's fingers trembled as she lifted the plate that had seemed ordinary just moments ago. Beneath it, neatly tucked, was a small envelope with her name written in elegant, almost unfamiliar handwriting. Her heart skipped a beat, a mixture of disbelief, curiosity, and a cautious spark of hope swirling in her chest. She hesitated for a second, wondering if it was some kind of prank, but the envelope was real, heavy in her hands. She carefully slid it open and pulled out the contents. Inside was a check, one that made her eyes widen in shock. It wasn't a modest gesture. It was enough to cover all her bills for the next year, maybe even more. She blinked rapidly, feeling the weight of the check and the possibilities it represented. But it wasn't just the money that made her gasp. It was the small note that accompanied it. Written in the same flowing script, it read, "Your kindness is worth more than any tip. Use this to chase your dreams." Jessica stared at the words, feeling a lump rise in her throat. This wasn't just a random act of generosity. It was recognition, a message that her struggles and efforts had been seen, even by someone so far removed from her everyday life. Memories of the past months flooded her mind. The nights she went without sleep to care for her son. The days she pushed herself to keep smiling at customers who barely noticed her. The moments of quiet desperation when she wondered if she was doing enough. And now, all at once, a stranger, someone she never expected, had offered not just financial relief but validation, a reminder that her perseverance mattered. Her fingers traced the edges of the envelope as she imagined the person who had left it. A billionaire, someone who could have ignored the world around him, yet chose to notice her. Jessica felt a mix of awe and disbelief. Could such a small, anonymous gesture really exist in a world that often felt harsh and indifferent? For the first time in months, she allowed herself a flicker of hope, imagining the possibilities that this unexpected gift could create, not just for her, but for her son. Tears pricked her eyes as she clutched the envelope to her chest. The diner, the exhausted routine, the bills and struggles, they all seemed suddenly lighter. Jessica realized that life had a way of surprising those who least expected it. And sometimes miracles arrived quietly, under the most ordinary of circumstances. She whispered to herself, almost in disbelief, maybe things really can change. And in that moment, she felt a spark of hope she hadn't dared to feel in years. The next morning, Jessica arrived at the diner with the envelope still clutched tightly in her hands, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and disbelief. She barely noticed the usual hum of the coffee machines or the chatter of early customers. Her mind was spinning with possibilities, bills that could finally be paid, overdue rent settled, and perhaps even a chance to pursue the small dreams she had tucked away, believing they were impossible. The weight of the check was more than financial relief. It was a symbol that her hard work, her sacrifices, and her quiet perseverance had been noticed and valued in a way she had never imagined. As word spread about the mysterious billionaire's act of generosity, the diner quickly became a hub of curiosity. Locals stopped by to hear the story firsthand, snapping photos and sharing it on social media. The tale of a struggling single mom who had received an unexpected gift of hope resonated with people far and wide. Jessica found herself both overwhelmed and amazed by the outpouring of support. But amidst the excitement, she remained grounded, thinking only of what this moment meant for her son, the one constant in her life who had made all her sacrifices worthwhile. With the check in hand, Jessica began to plan carefully. She paid off her rent and bills first, feeling a sense of relief she hadn't known in years. Then, she set aside funds for her son's education and his little joys, books he had longed for, a bicycle he had been eyeing, even a special treat she could afford to give him without worry. But beyond the practicalities, the most significant gift was something the money couldn't buy: hope. The act of generosity had shown her that kindness existed in the world, and that sometimes life offered second chances in the most unexpected ways. That evening, as she tucked her son into bed, she felt a profound sense of peace. She whispered softly, "We're going to be okay," and meant it with all her heart. The struggles were far from over, but she now had a renewed belief in the possibilities of life, in human kindness, and in the quiet miracles that can appear when you least expect them. Outside, the city lights twinkled like tiny promises, and Jessica allowed herself to dream, again, to believe that her story was only just beginning, and that the world could be a place where hope, generosity, and love could arrive when you needed them the most.